G'day everyone. Hello. Sorry, I didn't even get onto the chat before we started. I've been running around like a headless chook. It's been one of those days. Hello Fiona, you win. G'day Craig. How are the Goodmans? Hello Kay, David, hello. Jeff and Sue, hello. I know everyone's said that this has been such a big week, and I agree. It's been a really long week. It's been hard work getting to Thursday, but we're here. We made it. Woo. Big shout out to the Dyes who are tuning in from London with cheese and Chardonnay outside their hotel in the morning. Good work, team. And who else is here? Michael. Hello, Michael. Looking forward to a little Chardonnay. Be delicious. Hey, Shell and Andrew are here and actually ready this week due to ordering pumpkin pizza and taking it easy. Good work. Look, I've been so slow on getting onto the chats. Hello, Kay. Kay said hello. Tomato or white sauce with the pizza? Craig wants to know. Sounds good. Hello, Rob. How you going? Yeah, the abstract art, that was actually the photograph in the Ottolenghi book of the pumpkin, which I thought was not nearly as good as my pumpkin that I've made from Mum's little gorgeous little heirloom tiny pumpkins. So I'm feeling very proud of my pumpkins. I don't know what it tastes like yet, but the crunchy stuff on the top is amazing. And the whole house smells of lemon and garlic and Parmesan cheese, so it can't go wrong. Anne is having scallop pies. Excellent. Hello, Anne. Empty glasses at the ready. Kate's late. I wasn't that late, Craig. I started at 6 o'clock. I just didn't get into the chat first. Oh, my goodness. Okay, let's get some Chardonnay in the glass. Oh, hello, Emily and Kevin. How you going? What else are people saying? Thank you, Kay. I do think mine looks much better. It was fermenting Chardonnay. I know it doesn't look like the dish at all. Anyway, I was running a bit late due to running around like a headless chook today, so I just had to chuck that picture up. Keely and Nareem here from London. Good work, team. All right, what's the weather like in London? Is it lovely? Because it's very windy here, and there's not much point me turning the computer around because you won't be able to see. But the sky, if anyone can see the sky at the moment, look out. It's beautiful. There's all these gorgeous grey and purple clouds up high, and then pink clouds, and then blue sky, and the sun's just setting in the distance. It's gorgeous. Very autumnal. Hello, Alison. Who else have I not said hello to? Dale and John, welcome. Good to see you. Thank you for joining. Dale and John, you'll have to forgive me if I forget your tag, because it used to be that YouTube would give me a name as a tag, but now they just do your tag. So I believe there's a way, and Kay might post it again tonight, how to fix up your tag at your end. But lovely to see you. Welcome. It's a good one we're starting with. You're starting with the Chardonnay 2024, which will be very fun. And thank you, Ian, for introducing Dale and John to Drinks with Kate. How awesome. Who else? Peter and Karen, hello. Cotty and John, g'day. There's someone else that I missed, I think. But anyway, hello, everyone. Good to see you. Loans, g'day. Okay, let's get some Chardonnay in our glass. 2024 Chardonnay. Now, I haven't had a chance to double check, but is this the first time that we've drunk this wine together? Because we released the 2024 Estate Chardonnay late last year, and I have a feeling that we ran out of space in the boxes last year to drink this. So we're a bit slow. Oh, Michael, did you have... Oh, your house flooded. Oh, that's dreadful. And Craig, where are you getting pine nuts from? Who's having pine nuts? Oh, my God, the Italian joint changed the pizza recipe. It has pine nuts in it now. Oh, my goodness. Well, Shell, I've learnt a little bit more about pine nuts, and I've learnt that if they're kind of long and narrow, they're probably from New Zealand or from Europe, but more likely New Zealand, and they're Greek pine nuts. If they're sort of shorter and rounder and sort of oval, but like more circular than long and thin, they're probably Chinese ones, and they're the ones that can muck up your palate if you're not careful. So maybe taste the Chardonnay before you get stuck into the pizza, I guess. All right, so love this Chardonnay. So this is our beautiful, okay, exactly, Craig. Okay. The things I don't know, says Alison. I know. Oh, Shell, what a bummer. Okay, get into the Chardonnay. Pick the pine nuts off if you can be bothered. It'll be worth it. It's one of these things, for those of you who are new to this pine nut discussion, I kind of summarised it just then, but it's one of those things because if you can look outside now, the sky is even more magnificent. I can't, hang on. I'm going to try and show it to you, but you're just going to get it. You're going to cop an eye full of my circular light. Hang on a sec. Can you see? It's gorgeous. Anyway, if you couldn't see it, then you've got to just gotta take it from me. So, hello, Dale. Welcome. I hope you can hear me. I hope you can see me. Lovely to have you on the chat. Your name is now coming up, so that's great. Well done. Jackie Little made the pumpkin delicious. Sky is stunning, apricot pink here. Sky's purple and pink. Oh, good. It's gorgeous. Kay, thank you. I had a feeling that we did the 2024 Estate Chardonnay on the 11th of September last year. So it was a little as we released it. I thought it would be a nice thing to look at it now because we did it with Carbonara. Excellent. Thank you, Kate. So I wanted to look at it this half of the year because we are coming to the end of it. As you know, we've had small Chardonnay vintages for a few years, and Chardonnay is becoming more and more popular. So my message to you, as always, is don't muck around, get Chardonnay. If you love this Chardonnay today, make sure that you put some in your cellar because it's getting very close to being sold out. Our distributors have taken all that their allocation was, and we've got a little bit still in cellar door, but we're not showing it on tasting anymore because we're just eking it out to those that know you guys. All right, cool. Go early, go hard. Exactly, Rob. Yeah, Kay has a fantastic notes on this. Be very good. Don't muck around, get Chardonnay. That'd be a good T-shirt, Shell. We are working on some more merch at the moment. Pete's been working very hard on a vintage T-shirt, which we're going to offer you guys access to for the first time ever. Can't tell you anything more at the moment. It's very secret, but it's going to be ace. Okay, let's talk about this wine. Then we can gossip about whatever we feel like. So beautiful pale lemon in colour, pale gold, pale lemon. I can't really see because it's very dark in here already. The change that it makes when daylight savings happens, it's quite amazing. Kay now realises why she had 4 in her cellar. I love the aroma of this wine. It's a very young wine, but it's already ready to go. It's got gorgeous lemon aromatic. It's like very ripe, beautiful lemon that you've just picked off the tree. A bit of lemon oil from the rind, but also lovely, ripe, tangy lemon flesh. It's got a mealy, biscuity note to it. There you go, Richard. Jill and Richard have been very busy too. Richard's only just now coming in to get some. There's Pussycat just there. He's gone over there, Dad. Hey, Jack. Hello. Jack's come to be part of Drinks with Kate. He's enjoying things. It's got this lovely kind of crunched up, savoury cracker, mealy kind of a note to it as well on the nose, which I think is very appealing. There's a little bit of There's a little bit of white peach or white nectarine. There's a slight butteriness. Michael is saying it's magnificent, great nose, lovely palate, long legs, butter but not too much, so malolactic. So our Chardonnay almost always has 100% malo, Michael. It goes through malo in the 10 months that it sits in barrel unsulfured. So we'll have a little quick talk about how this wine was made again while it's opening up. So it was handpicked in 2024. Very small crop, tiny berries, lovely flavour intensity. It went straight into the press as whole bunches, pressed. Cloudy juice went straight to barrel. We don't add yeast because, as you know, we love a bit of wild ferment. So natural yeast fermented the wine in barrel. And to do a barrel ferment, you need to only fill the barrels about 4/5 full, because you get a lot of bubbling going on. And if you fill the barrels too full, then it makes a terrible mess. During the fermentation time, we give the wine a little very gentle sinter of oxygen a couple of times when it starts fermenting and partway through the ferment. And that's because yeast needs oxygen to live. And when it's producing a lot of carbon dioxide in a closed environment, it can sometimes struggle. So a little bit of oxygen will not oxidize the wine, but it just gives the yeast a little bit of breathing space, a little bit of extra muscle, a bit of extra energy. When the ferments are finished, we consolidated all the barrels and then we leave them unsulfured for 10 months in the cellar. We check them about once a month. We leave them on all their gross lees, so we don't take them off any of the lees. And we check them to make sure nothing's going wrong with them. And so far, touch wood, that has been working an absolute treat. We've been doing this now for about, what would you say, Richard, 15 years you've been making Chardonnay like this? More than that, anyway. 26 years. So we feel like it's kind of, we're kind of getting the hang of it. Sue and Jeff, we use mostly old oak. This wine has got about 8 to 10% new oak, and we're using a couple of different size barrels, puncheons, which are slightly bigger, and normal barriques, which are what you would normally see Chardonnay, Pinot Noir being matured in. After it's been in barrel for about 10 months post-fermentation, we top it up if we need to, because we don't want any headspace. We want to keep the wine away from oxygen. Hi, Jill. Hi. Jill's going to feed the cat. And she's done some beautiful flowers for us this week. Thank you, Jill. We appreciate it. So the wine goes through a natural malolactic conversion during that 10 months because there's no sulfur in the wine. The malolactic bacteria is able to live happily there, and it does its thing. So, yeah, it's usually a full malo or very close to, Michael. But because it is a natural malolactic conversion, we don't add anything in there. And because the wine has beautiful natural acidity and most of the acid in the wine is not malic acid, it's tartaric acid naturally occurring from the grapes. It's not a huge conversion and you don't get a lot of change in shape, just a little softness and creaminess in the mid palate. Should we drink at room temperature? Dale's saying. I like to drink on a day like today when it's not too hot. I like to drink it at room temperature. 20 to 25 degrees is good. If you want to make it slightly cooler, I've taken this out of our wine fridge that we've had on about 14 degrees for summer, and I haven't fiddled around with it yet because the temperature's still kind of fluctuating a bit at the moment. So mine's 14 degrees. It's warming up a little bit. It's going to have more aromatics at sort of 18 to 20 degrees. I think maybe for me, 25 degrees is a little too warm for it, but that's a personal choice. If you like it to be a little bit warmer, then absolutely do that. For me, on a cold day, I like to serve it warmer because it's not going to warm up. On a warm day, I like to serve it cooler because the ambient temperature of the room is going to bring it up to a more room temperature character. So it's been sitting in the glass for a little while, and I'm getting lots of garlic and lemon and parmesan off my pumpkin, which is lovely, but is getting in the way a little bit of the wine, but that's all right. Craig's getting some yuzu. I reckon definitely it's sort of a slightly more exotic citrus character than just lemon. So maybe a little bit of kumquat, a little bit of yuzu. It's really lovely. Alison, when you describe the winemaking, is it standard Chardonnay winemaking aside from the big? So, Alison, it's kind of it's not something that we've invented. It's seen as perhaps slightly risque winemaking in Australia when we have all the science behind us that it's a good idea to push the malo through fast and then get the wine sulfured up so that it doesn't have any bacteria or any living stuff in it, because you can get some spoilage yeasts that can spoil the wine if that's an issue. Because of where we grow the fruit, and because we've been making the wine like this for as long as we have, and because we pick it early, and because we know that we have a naturally low pH and high natural acidity, and our fruit also, because it's hand picked and we process it either the day that it comes in or the day after it comes in, it's very clean. We do give it a little bit of sulfur on fruit reception, so that will knock out any nasty bugs that could be hanging around. But that's the only time we use sulfur in our winemaking for the white wine until we're getting it ready for bottling, and then we'll give it some more sulfur before it goes into bottle. Not huge amounts, just a nice little bit to kind of make sure that it's all nice and clean when it goes to bottle, and that it has that little bit of extra protection from aging, so it'll age a little bit more slowly and stay fresher. So in answer to your question, Alison, there are more people doing small batch white wine making in similar ways to us. Some people like to stop the malo. A lot of people are worried about leaving the wine unsulfured for as long as we do. We've been doing it for long enough that we feel very confident with the method, and we think that it gives the Moorooduc Chardonnay a chance to breathe and become what it is. And it's one of the things that we think is pretty special about our wine, as well as the sites that we source our fruit from. So it's a bit of both. It's not anti-risk winemaking, but we feel that it's worth taking a small risk. We don't feel that it's terribly risky because we work pretty clean, and we work with really good quality fruit. So Fiona wants to know, is there much difference in the process with the estate versus Robinson McIntyre? No, there's very little difference in the winemaking process. They all are made in they're usually made in exactly the same way. The estate wine has fruit from a number of different vineyards. So we have the McIntyre vineyard here, which is 12 acres under vine. We have a lot of the Chardonnay that comes from the McIntyre vineyard is from our old vines that were planted 43 years ago. And the best of that fruit goes to the McIntyre. So that's the fruit selection for the McIntyre, the Moorooduc McIntyre Chardonnay. That's an old vine thing, and it's also the specific character of this site. We have, as a lot of you know, we have very sandy soil. We're on top of a hill which drains very, very well. It's north facing, so we get good sunshine, but we also get a lot of windy, cooling weather from the east and the west. So it's quite a specific microclimate here on the McIntyre vineyard. The younger vine fruit from the McIntyre vineyard tends to go into the estate wine, so that's what we're drinking today. Also, fruit from the Osborne vineyard that we take goes into the estate Chardonnay. Some years, fruit from the Robinson vineyard goes into estate Chardonnay, but for the last few years, the Robinson vineyard has had such tiny yields and has been beautiful, distinctive, different Chardonnay. So for the last 2 or 3 or 4 years, that's all gone into, all of the fruit from the Robinson vineyard's gone into the Robinson wine, but made the same way. And then we've got some Chardonnay fruit that comes from the garden vineyard as well. I don't know if Sue and Daryl are on tonight. If you are, Sue and Daryl, hello. I haven't seen you guys say hello. But the character that we get from this, for this wine, I think has some of that, as I say, that lemony, citrus, yuzu character, some beautiful white nectarine, white peach, stone fruit aromatic, but it's got this lovely savouriness and it's got a little saltiness on the finish as well. Finally, put some in my mouth. Sometimes I get a bit carried away with smelling it and talking about it, but on the palate, it's got this beautiful zesty acidity, and that's a real classic character of 2024 for us, for our whites from 2024. They had a lovely acid zest to them. So, Kay, the butteriness comes from both the malolactic fermentation and also the time on lees. But the time on lees also gives it that savoury, nutty, biscuity kind of character. The savouriness comes from the winemaking. We also handle the fruit oxidatively when it comes in and we're pressing it, so we don't protect the juice from oxygen as it's being pressed. It goes into the press tray and then it gets pumped into a tank. We stir it up and then it goes straight to barrel, and that's done with when it's going into the press tray before it goes into the tank. We don't protect it from oxygen, so we lose a bit of primary fruit in that, using that method, but it gains texture and savouriness and that kind of longevity that we see with the Moorooduc wines, particularly the Chardonnays. Craig is saying, had a wine tasting with real Italians recently, and their quote was, "If you know your vines, then you get clean wine and no intervention is required." I think that's absolutely, well, that's something that we talk about a lot. You know, we work really hard in our vineyard. We have a family vineyard that we own, but the other vineyards that we take fruit from, we don't just buy fruit from a grower. We work those vineyards ourselves, so we know what's been done to them. We know how the vineyards have been treated. It's very much hands-on. So we know the quality of the fruit coming in. We know when there's going to be, potential issues. And this year in 2026, there's been a few issues with some sunburnt fruit and a bit of dried fruit. And, more recently, a little bit of disease pressure from the rain that we've been having. But we know what to expect because we know those vineyards intimately and we work really closely with them. It's one of the real advantages of having a team with Richard and Jeremy, and then working with Peninsula Vine Care, who do the sort of the heavy lifting viticulture stuff. But Dad and Jeremy are all across everything that's done on the vineyards that we work with. And as you know, Jeremy is a trained viticulturist as well as winemaker. But we also work with Dylan Grigg, who helps us out with sort of the bigger picture, sort of clever viticultural stuff. So I feel like with the team that we're working with, we have really beautiful understanding of our vineyards, and the way we work the vineyards is very much with our hands. Everything's hand pruned, everything's hand picked. I'm not personally out in the vineyard pruning, but Dad and Jeremy certainly are. And over winter, so not at the moment. They're too busy making wine, and the vines aren't ready for that yet. But yeah, it's very much it's the precision of the process that if you got your hands on it, and you can smell it, you can feel it, you can see it, then you know what's going on and you know what you can do in the winery with the fruit. Cotty has asked, I'm sure you've told us before, but what is the pH of your soil? Being sandy, is it on the alkaline side? I've got no idea. Richard, can you tell me about the pH of our soil? The soil here. He's coming. Richard, my father, for those of you who haven't met him yet. We've got a couple of newbies on the chat, Dad. So
our soil is just a little bit on the acid side of neutral. Neutral, of course, is pH 7, and the topsoil was about 6, and the subsoil. This is old information because we don't keep remeasuring it. But the subsoil, which is sandy clay, a lot of the clays we have in this country here are quite low pHs, quite acidic, whereas our clay not only has sand running through it, which helps, but it's, if I remember correctly, about 5.9 pH when we got the land. So we have put a little bit of lime on from time to time, but I don't feel we need any major corrections of anything. I think it works well, and I think as we get even better at regenerative agriculture, it's going to get better because of an ancient symbiotic relationship between plants and microbes.
Excellent. Thank you, Dad. And people are admiring your T-shirt. It's a good one, that one, the Pinot Massif T-shirt. Yeah, excellent. Thank you, Richard. Cotty has thank you for answering that question so beautifully. So, how's the wine going down? I've just had a little bit of my pumpkin, and I do think if you didn't make this recipe, it's really simple, and I highly recommend it. Makes the whole house smell delicious, but the saltiness of the parmesan, the breadcrumbs, the garlic, the lemon rind, and the sweetness of the pumpkin, and these I've got to show you. These pumpkins are tiny, so I've got little pumpkin chips. They're so cute, and the pumpkin's sweet, and the pumpkin skin is delicious. It's really, really good. So yeah, our regen ag, I think, is going to really improve the quality of the soil. I'm not sure if it's going to change the pH. We might have to look into that, but yeah, doing well. So David and Fiona are having the nugget chicken as well, which I thought sounded delicious, but I didn't have time to make nugget chicken as well as pumpkin. So yeah, we don't name the vines individually. It is a bit too scary, but they do get a lot of individual love. I think Dad and Jeremy know those vines quite intimately. I agree, Kate. There's a little bit of grapefruit coming up, both on the nose and the palate for me on this wine now. It's not the sort of grapefruit character that you see in Margaret River Chardonnay. It's a little bit more subtle, but it's definitely there. So that little bitterness, that little kind of twang of bitterness, which I think is very appealing in white wine. I don't like my white wine to be too fruity or too sweet fruited. Having a little bitter twist and a little saltiness on the finish, I think is really important, and that's what happens here. So it's a good thing we like it. So Jack is saying, use butternut pumpkin slices, lovely, had flathead tails. Flathead tails would be beautiful with it as well. Kay added honey and parmesan to the yogurt dressing. Nina, hello. Love roast pumpkin and its skin. My grandma used to do it like that. Oh, good. I hope Peter got home and brought you some pumpkin. I hope that it was cooked, and I hope that it was ripe enough when I cooked it. It's a good recipe. It's a good one. Okay, what have I missed? Okay, cool. So I think the wine, as it's opening up, I'm getting more white nectarine. I'm getting more grapefruit. I'm getting some really nice. Oh, David, would you say the Gin clone is too fruity? No, David, I don't think the clone itself is too fruity. And in fact, we have what do we call it here, Dad? The Mendoza clone, which the Western Australians are now saying is not the same as the Gin clone, but it's quite similar. Very similar, Richard says. So I don't know enough yet, but we find that we've got a little bit of Mendoza clone, which goes into this wine, which might be bringing the grapefruit, but it's only a very small percentage. So I think it's probably not just that. But I think in Margaret River, they get so much more sunshine than us. So the Margaret River climate is very specific. It's hotter, they get more sunshine, but then they get this incredibly cooling wind that comes in every afternoon that cools things down and slows down the ripening. So we don't get anything like the Fremantle Doctor. We get, in summer, we do get some winds from the east and the west, but we don't get any southerlies, and we don't get wind coming off a huge ocean like they do in Margaret River, but we don't get the intensity of sun, and we don't get that incredible dry heat in most years that they get in WA. So I think it's more to do with the way the grapes ripen than the clone being too fruity. And I think also there's a stylistic character that they love and that does well in wine shows coming from Margaret River. And so people are chasing that. They're chasing the fruitiness, and then they're chasing some sulfides in the barrel aging to give the wine a bit of savouriness. So it's a different ripening process. It's a different winemaking process. We try to avoid too much sulfide in our wine because we don't want that bitter, flinty, struck match character getting in the way of our fruit, because our fruit is a bit more delicate. Fee's getting some pear notes now. I think it's pretty complex, this wine, and I think that it's a wine that is really going to reward anyone who puts it down in the cellar. I know that that's not always an option, and I know that there's a lot of wine out there, and I know that it's delicious to drink right now. So I totally understand why, if you buy it and drink it and then don't have any left, why that would happen. Kay's saying she's got the Heytesbury and it's very different to Mornington Peninsula Chardonnay. Yep. When I was doing some wine judging, I judged the Heytesbury a few times, and I was not on the side of that wine when it was really heavily reliant on the sulfides as well as big ripe fruit. I just found it went too far, and it was a bit bitter on the finish. I'm not chasing that in Chardonnay that I want to drink, and we're not chasing that in the Chardonnay that we want to make. So both the winemaking decisions are different, but also that the flavour that you get from growing Chardonnay in Margaret River is so different from the flavour that you get from growing Chardonnay here on the Mornington Peninsula. It does have a lovely little tang on the palate. It's got really beautiful natural acidity, and that's one of the lovely things about growing Chardonnay down here, is that we have a climate that allows us to grow Chardonnay and ripen Chardonnay so that you get quite ripe flavours. So you get that citrus fruit, you get that little bit of white stone fruit, but you hold on to beautiful natural acidity, and you don't need to add anything to the juice when you're making the wine. You just press the fruit, stick it in a barrel, let it ferment, top those barrels up with each other, let it go through malo. If you grow it in the right place and you pick it at the right time, it's a really beautiful wine to make because you just let it do its thing. Perfect. David, the reduction shouldn't go through the finish. I think that when you can often, so look, this is controversial because a lot of people love reduction, and a lot of wine judges love reduction in Chardonnay. They think it makes the wine look more serious. I often hear them saying that it makes the wine look more Burgundian. I'm so sick of Australians trying to make wine that looks more Burgundian. Why don't we just try and make the best quality wine that looks like Australian wine? And why can we not celebrate the flavours of the Mornington Peninsula? I don't want my wine to look like Burgundy. I want it to look like bloody fantastic Chardonnay from the Mornington Peninsula, from Moorooduc Estate, from the vineyards that we work with. And reduction is not a flavour of a place, it's a flavour of a barrel of wine that has gone through a process during its fermentation. Reduction can be reduced. You can work at not getting reduction in wine, but a lot of Australians are like, well, we've got wine that's too fruity, so reduction will give it a savoury note to it. And I think you can get savouriness in other ways, as we discussed, letting the juice oxidise a little bit while you're processing it, letting the wild yeasts do the ferment, leaving the wine unsulfured for 10 months so it just bubbles away and breathes away and does its thing as a living thing. It's pretty bloody awesome. How to change your handle, Kay is saying. Okay, cool. Thank you, Kay. So anyone who'd like to change their handle, Kay's put a little how to up on there. I'm not going to read it out again, but feel free to take a photo or a screenshot or whatever and make it easier for me to know who's talking. Cotty's saying, as the wine gets warmer in the glass, it smells sweeter and fruitier. I think we had our bottle too cold to start. I think that is an issue. And was it John or Dale said, should we be serving it at 20 degrees? And I think for me, I like to start with it slightly cooler. But if it's 20 degrees in the room and the wine gets up to that temperature, hurrah, I think that's fantastic. If we're drinking the wine on a 40-degree day and the air conditioning's not working so well, I'd say make it colder so that it has further to go to get too hot. But yeah, on a night like tonight, it's not too cold, it's not too warm. Room temperature is a pretty good place for that wine to be. It's getting more expressive as we drink it. I think it's delicious. Where are we up to? Weirdly, usually I have a little clock up the top that tells me how long I've been talking for. I can check because it's 6:38 and we started at 6 o'clock. But usually I have a little counter up here, but I think YouTube's changed things again, bastards. So I don't get that warning that I've been, crapping on for too long. So please, oh, there it is. I found it. It's moved over here. It's moved over to here rather than being over here. But I could keep talking about this wine all night. I think it's so delicious. Kay's getting more peach now. I think that's right. But it's peach with the little kind of, when you suck on the peach, you eat the peach, but then you suck on the peach pip and you get that little bit of bitterness and that little bit of sourness, I think is awesome. Hey, Nareem, how is the wine going for London Shardy Brekkie? 15 degrees. If I'd known you guys were doing this, I think having the cheese from, I think you went to Marks and Sparks, or maybe it was Waitrose for your cheese. The other thing that you can do, which is really fun with a wine like this, is go to Pret a Manger and get yourselves either one of their egg and bacon sandwiches, which is pretty good, or they do a full brekkie sandwich, which has got like tomato and sausages and bacon and egg and everything in it. It's very good as when you're on holiday to have a brekkie wine. I don't recommend brekkie wines every day, but when you're in London and Drinks with Kate is on at, what time is it there? 8 o'clock, or is it 9 o'clock there now? Or hope it's not 7 o'clock. Anyway, well done you guys for being so hardcore. What's Peter saying? Would be fun if there was an Australian timber species that could be used as a viable alternative to French oak for barrels. Well, Pete, that's a very interesting comment, and it's something that, so there's one Australian Cooper in South Australia. They're called AP Johns, and they have done a little bit of an experiment. 9:39. Okay, Nareem. Well, that's almost civilized. That's almost a reasonable time to start drinking Chardonnay on your holidays. Sorry, I'm just trying to cut my pumpkin while I'm talking to you. It's not working. It's just making me look awkward. It's good, isn't it? I haven't had a chance to eat much of mine. I've been talking too much. But Pete, AP Johns has done some experimentation with Australian hardwood and our mate Bill in Gippsland. Come on, Dad, you can do it. Bill. You know, long curly hair, crazy guy, makes fantastic wine. What's his name? Bill. Yeah. Anyway, William Downey is his name. Thank you. We got there in the end. So Bill Downey has done some experimentation with some barrels made by AP Johns with Australian hardwood. I don't think he's super excited about them yet. I think that oak, sadly, is working a little bit better. But we don't like a lot of new oak in our wine. Bill Downey, thank you, Coddy. We all got there at about the same time. I think that Australian hardwood is definitely something we should be continuing to look at. It would be really lovely if we could make barrels from local wood, but I think that most of the eucalypt, certainly there's too much flavour in the wood. We have enough trouble with the odd eucalyptus leaf that drops into our Pinot Noir. Yeah, so Kay's saying our timber is very fragrant and may overpower the wine. Yeah, exactly. Blackwood and acacia are the things that people are sort of playing with, but it's still quite fragrant. It needs to be hardwood, so it needs to have very fine grain to it because you don't want it to leak. So oak works really well. And we're also playing around with the idea of maybe shipping barrel staves rather than the whole barrels over from France, which means that we're using a lot less space and a lot less fuel, but then getting them put together here and making sure they're of really good quality. They could be good. Tassie oak, Kay, I think that'd be a better thing to do with that than cut it down and turn it into paper pulp to sell to Japan. But, you know, that's me being political, so I'll leave that at that. I think there's options, but wine people are very traditional. Wine people are super traditional, and they like their wine to come in 750ml glass bottles. We've just managed to convince Australians and a few people around the globe that screw caps can close quality bottles, but you go to America, you go to Europe, you go to China, you go to Hong Kong, and they're very anti, or 1.5 litre, thank you, Fee, absolutely 1.5 litre bottles are even better. But there's lots of parts of the world that don't think that screw cap is any good for quality wine. We don't have any other accepted ways of storing wine rather than glass bottles and a stopper in the top. And oak, French oak or American oak, has become synonymous with wine. But when we talk about Italian wine, we talk about Hungarian wine, a lot of European wines have different types of wood. They'll use cherry oak in Italy, but that's not to give the wine flavour. The cherry oak will be old and they'll use it for 50 years. They'll be big barrels. Hungarian oak can do some pretty good things. Disrupted the name of the game these days with some nous. Absolutely, Kay. So, you know, never say never, but I think we'll keep buying French oak barrels for a little while, just not too much. And we'll keep using them for a long time because they do a good job as fermentation and maturation vessels over time. All right, team, we're getting up to the 45-minute mark. Let me just put some pumpkin in my mouth. That wasn't very elegant. Pinot Gris on skins in Tassie oak. Maybe. So the Pinot Gris both go into old oak. We're not looking to get any flavour from that oak into those wines. We just want it to be a very lightly breathable vessel. Next week, we are doing the 2024 Estate Pinot Noir, which is the other reason that I wanted to look at the 2024 estate Chardonnay this week. So it's a little bit of a vintage review from 2024. We have not yet released the 2024 estate Pinot Noir, so it's a preview. Oh, thank you, Peter. Tassie Oak's just a euphemism for variety of eucalypts. See, I don't even know. We don't want eucalypts in our wine. That's something that we're pretty confident about. So next week, 2024 estate Pinot Noir. I will think of something delicious to match to that. It's a very young wine. We'll be releasing it later this year. So we'll have a little preview, which will be super fun. David, I would love to put Pinot Gris on skins in some concrete eggs. Maybe we should do a crowdfund to help finance a concrete egg to put some Pinot Gris on skins in. Could be super fun. Thank you, Peter. Peter as the architect who's done a lot of work on wood, knows all these tricks. Cheers, Nareem and Keely. Have fun in London. Have fun in Champagne. We'll love to see you then. Thank you, everyone. Okay, good. Excellent, Kay. Thank you, Kay. See you, Cotty and John. See you, Shell and Andrew. Wonderful wine. Delicious. Not super ruined by the pine nuts. Good. Excellent. I'm so glad. John and Dale, thank you so much for joining. It's been really fun. I'm glad you love Chardonnay. We love having you on board. Come back again next week if you've got the time. It's been really fun. Night all. Take care. If I can find the button to turn you off. Hang on. Where's my button to turn you off? We could be on this forever. I don't. Let's change. Oh, there we go. End stream. I found it. See you later. Love you all. Take care. Cheers. Bye. Oh, dear.